how exactly do we get the parents and the home church to be as engaged and involved in these mission trips as we hope?
There are a couple of goods that we really want to be intentional about pursuing in that area, Kendra. And I would frame at least two different dimensions that we want to work towards with parents. First of all, every youth minister, every minister knows this is a relational gig, right? So you've heard the cliche, youth ministry is relationship, relationship, relationship. Well, we've talked about how that's relationship in the youth group around unconditional love. We've talked about how that's relationship between and among the seniors and between the seniors and the youth group. We've talked about how that's relationship with the mission partners that we're partnering with in the communities and their youth groups. I don't think we should forget that we want to be in relationship with the parents and in relationship with our home church. You know, every child that comes to youth group, by high school age, some of them have access to cars, and so they can make autonomous decisions. I want to be in the youth group. But it's not our job to form Christian lives separate and apart from the role of parents. It's a parent's job to raise their children and help in Christian formation. We are at best partners. But for us to partner with the parents, we need to be in relationship with the parents. Not only do we need to be in relationship, we want the parents to see the value of what we're doing. Every parent these days is navigating such an incredibly difficult path of figuring out what they need to do to help their kids be prepared to succeed in life. And in this culture, we could do a separate sermon on what's good and bad about it. We have parents steadily juggling the difficulties of all the different activities they're trying to slot into their kids' lives. They want them to be prepared for the SATs and have SAT prep coaches and classes. They want them to be all-state athletes. They want them to be in the orchestra. They want them to have tutors so that they can succeed at their AP class. They want them in the local arts. They want them to take the video club. It starts to leave no time to be a child and no time for Christian formation. So not only do we want to be in relationship with the parents, we want the parents to understand our aspirations, our vision, and what we think God wants and can create as a possibility for their children. And that means we need to have time with the parents to engage. So what we do in our youth group is, if a child wants to just come to youth group, there are no requirements. There's no attendance, there's no payment, there's no parent participation required. But as they begin to find themselves more attracted or more invested in the idea of a mission trip, well, now we raise the covenantal expectations, and one of them is the covenantal expectations on the parents. We want the parents of every child going on a mission trip to come to a parents' meeting at the beginning of the year. The meeting is not a bureaucratic paper shuffling meeting. The meeting is, this is our vision, this is our mission, this is what we think is possible in the lives of your children. This is the flourish and health and growth we think God wants in your child. This is how we intend to go after it, and we need your help. If we do a good job with the parents, showing them a video about unconditional love and acceptance, clear and understandable boundaries, participation in something larger than yourself, if we give them an evocative manual that talks about our goals and our aspirations and how we go about it, if we ask them to participate as volunteers and engage in the youth group itself, if we ask them to be team parents so that they have an engagement with particular teams, maybe not the team their child's on, the parents begin to not only respect what we're doing, they start to love the process itself, and we get a chance to minister to both the children and the parents, and now the parents are our allies in the nurture and the formation of the kids, rather than harried folks, just overwhelmed by the juggling task. There's the same concept with respect to the home church, and just very briefly, I think that is, we don't want the mission trip to be, or the youth group to be, some standalone externality to church life. We want it to be deeply engaged, and we want the church to understand these are our kids, and we want the kids to understand this is our church. But again, that requires time together. So we want to have the kids serving the church. We want to have the kids leading worship in church. We want to have the kids doing something we call YG Gives Back, raking for senior citizens, cooking for all church meals. We want them to be commissioned in the church and by the church for their mission trip. We want the seniors to be commissioned by the church and for the mission trip. We want the kids to come back and have a youth Sunday where they lead the worship and they testify and they witness to how they've experienced God. If you get this right, it's not just a calculation to develop a relationship. It's some of the most beautiful moments in church life. Our highest attendance levels of the whole year are Christmas and Easter, but right behind that is Youth Sunday. because the congregation loves their youth group and they love hearing the kids talk about how they've experienced God.